Hey, this is going to be a complete, total video that I hardly ever do. But I have been trying and grinding everything since this game officially came out. First thing I did, I went through and played the story mode. I really enjoyed the story. I'm not personally a fan of how it ended. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still cool as hell, but it just wasn't like it wasn't like MK11 or MK10 or anything amongst those lines. Um, so the fastest way that I have found to go and max out your fighters and your cameos would be through invasions, which is probably the best way to go about in doing it. Um, Once you first start in invasions, I can't remember if you unlock it after the story mode or if it's there from the start. I didn't start it until after story mode, or the campaign, however you want to look at it. I'm not too sure. Um, the fastest way that I have found, now do keep in mind when you first start, because I didn't know any bit of this shit. This was all new. It's all new to everybody. So when you first start off, it puts you in I'm going to call it a tutorial, which it would be Johnny Cage's mansion. I'm gonna be honest with you. I highly suggest go through and do every encounter in it. I think there's one or two test your mights. I'm not sure. There's a secret chest or two hidden amongst in that level. I suggest go ahead and doing every bit of it because you will not go back. Or if you are able to go back, I have not found a way to go back. But once you get past that, you start in Feijong Village, and you don't have to go through and do everything. There is a test your might in here. I forget about where it's at, but there is one. You do start off right here. This will be like the first one that you go to, and if you're ever curious as to where you go as far as to like progress inside of invasions, you can see in the bottom next to Baraka, the character I'm currently playing, there's a green arrow. You can always go and follow these, and it'll lead you to the next, I call it main story quest as far as this. There are these little areas right here where it says damn sand, if and when the inventory thing will go away. There are barriers, and you have to go and do particular fights and everything to unlock them. I believe there is a chest behind me, or yeah, it would be a chest. But doing this and progressing through this, there are ambushes, which consist of just random fights and everything. There are shops and forges to go and purchase amulets and just all kinds of goodies. Like for instance, these are good for locked chests. I always try to go through and remember where they're at, because if you just hold on to one, your inventory is gonna be full. I have one, and these are what I have just in case if I needed to go through and do anything in particular, and I was getting my ass beat. Going through it does take some time, I will admit. It's just this is a grind. If you've been playing this and you're seeing this, you know that this is a grind. And I'm laying this all out on the table. This is explaining how to do it, what it is. I'm gonna show the best possible methods to go through and get XP for your characters and your cameos. If I have a tip or two, I might just throw it out there. I'm not sure. This temple, or let me rephrase that, this tower, I believe you do this for a key. I can't necessarily remember. I've been playing this non-stop for about 2 days, just inside of invasions, and I have yet to max out a cameo or a character. But I have found some pretty efficient ways to do it. These survives are pretty unique. I actually enjoy them. They're a bit frustrating, especially if you don't have a lot of health. Um, but they do help. This one I don't think it's necessary, but you're able to do it if you please. I mean, it's only like 2 or 4 floors. Right here, I'm getting ambushed, which every time you complete an ambush, you do get an amulet that will later go and help you as far as games mechanics. Like, you can use your right analog stick. I'm not sure what it is on PC. I'm sure it's the same way on the Nintendo Switch. But as far as like Xbox and PlayStation, I do know it's your right stick. I mean, you can see here, Baraka, I have him rank 18. Frost is the only cameo that I have currently been using since the game has came out, and this bitch is only rank 13. And I have been going through and using, I can't remember what it's called. Let's swap that out. I can't remember what it's called, but this relic, not junk, that's what it is. It gives you a 15% increased XP gain, which, you know, is pretty helpful. Plus, it gives you the perk of taking 0 damage as far as any kind of super armor. That, honestly, I don't know if that actually affects anything. I haven't really noticed a difference. But at the same time, I have been using this non-stop since I first started playing this. The best advice I can give is this level 30 that you see next to Baraka is not actually your player or your character's level. It is just your invasion level. Every time that levels up, every character gets 5 stat points. I highly suggest put it on manual and increase the attack. Every time you get 5, increase the attack. Because it gets +1 to all 5 different slots for stat points. It gives a +1 for every character. Every character gets 5. Level 30 is the max, and I think that gives you a total of 145 stat points to assign to any particular slot. I suggest doing manual, like I said, and just do attack. It actually goes through and it helps a lot. This area right here, this is a locked area, and if you're curious, you're going to need a nether stone, which you do not get until you make it to the fire temple and defeat Scorpion, which is this season's I guess you would call it final boss. But these, if you're curious, these are pretty beefy fights. Like, each one has phases. They're a bit of a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. Even with your attack and everything being maxed out, there's still a bit of a challenge if you're not experienced. Forges, you can go and repair and upgrade talismans if you were, to care about that, which they do come in handy occasionally. I'm just taking you through this first map so you kind of have an idea of about where to go. I do apologize for this being long, but I genuinely had zero fucking clue what I was doing when I first started playing this. So for all the newcomers, they have an idea, so that's why I'm doing this. I believe after this one, like right in here, this is where you hit your first ambush, I think. I can't really remember. I think it's somewhere around in here. But as far as this, I like this layout, how it takes you through each mesa and allows you to, kind of get a feel for life in that general area. I like that. I don't think I've been to this shop. Huh, okay. That's cool. But as far as any kind of XP goes, if you're wanting to know the fastest and best ways to do it, really, I'm gonna be honest with you, just play it until you get to the Tarkatan. I'm struggling with English today. make it to the colony, and it's not too far into the colony whenever you come from, I think it's the Waishu Academy. I can't remember if it goes from Sundu to that or if it's Waishu. I can't really remember. But it's honestly not that far into it, and you get to the best possible XP spot kind of mid-game that you can just grind out. Grinding in this is a bitch, I'm not gonna lie. Even with the XP buff, it still takes forever. As of this moment, I probably have, since the launch of the game, keep in mind it's only, September 21st, and I think this came out like the 18th, I think. I can't remember. Or it was like Tuesday or something. 19th. One of them days. I went through and probably spent almost every hour since this launch, except for 3 hours earlier when I finally decided to just crash and take a nap, grinding. And sheesh. It sucks. Can't lie. But make it through the village, you go to the Sundew Festival. There is a spot in here that I would suggest do to just get a little bit more of a buff as far as your invasions level. Now, I don't necessarily remember where it is off the top of my head. Like I do, but I don't, if that makes sense. But for invasion levels, test your mites are going to be the best thing to do. And they're not that hard. You just button mash and then hit the right trigger or right bumper, whatever you want to call it. And here's another ambush. That's great. This game's fucking full of these. Along with secret fights and towers and shit. Oh my god. But pretty much each one you go through and uppercut. You hit max possible as far as attack. It's cheesy. It's boring. It sucks, but it's efficient. That's all I can say. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I forgot where it was. So, I believe it's right here. Does it test your mic? Yeah. So this one, I stayed here and grinded until I got my invasion level up to about 15, which kind of put me ahead of the scale for this area. Because I think right here is like maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 at the most as far as any encounters go. Yeah, see level 8. But the test your might is really easy if you're good at, button mashing, or if you're just quick with it. It's just genuinely easy as shit. Plus this one, it has a unique thing. You can just hold it, let it go, and fall, and tap it. And this gives a good chunk of XP. I believe every time you do this, you get about 24 invasion level XP. It does not seem like a lot, but it actually is as far as the invasion level. Once you hit 30, that's it. There's no more grinding. You don't have to go through a whole nother stage to officially max out 30. It goes from 29, max 30. Just like that. From there, if you want to mid-game, or I say mid-game, kind of like early-ish with the mesas and the invasions, do these endurances, okay? I suggest getting up to like 15, maybe 16 on invasion, maxing out the attack. Fight. And then just trying to go through and flawless wipe everybody. The best thing for the last guy, hold down D-pad and whatever it is, up and down. Hold it. That's going to be the best possible outcome for a brutality. And some characters have a whole lot less attack, as far as, like, for instance, Baraka, Reptile, and Sindel. Those are the top 3 with attack. Everybody's been using Baraka and Reptile, but actually Sindel actually is equivalent with them as far as all the attributes. Anyway, you go through this mesa. I think it's Waishu Academy you go through, but once you get to the Tarkatan colony, it's not that hard from the portal when you first spawn in. This is going to be probably one of the best spots just because they're right next to each other, they're decent level. And then this endurance, which consists of 3 enemies and everything like that. The thing that benefits this one is the modifiers, with it being a health debuff. So they actually have less health, and so you're able to just go up and one tap them pretty easily. Especially if you're level 30, it's a bit of a breeze. But like I was saying, it's really not that far into the colony, because once you hit the good one, you just go to the right, and there's your test your might. When you first come into the colony, you come from this direction, I believe. I can't really remember. It's been a long couple of days. But this test your might, you do have to be a little bit faster than the previous one that I just said at the festival. But this one, genuinely easy. I know it seems like I'm repeating myself at this point. So this one, it's like right there at the top. So you have to like tap, let it go.
Excellent.
It's not too bad once you have some practice with it, but there are a few times that I did fail this. But do this one until you get to 30. The grind on it's gonna suck, but it's well worth it, because once you hit 30 on this, the rest of this shit, as far as the mesas, you can just breeze through the last couple ones just by going and uppercutting them. Shang Tsung's laboratory, I have not went through and done all that. I literally did just the main levels to get through it. Same thing with the Living Forest and the Fire Temple. I didn't do any of the other backtracking bullshit. Now these I did, and a part of me regrets it, but I don't. But once you hit this test your might and you hit level 30 on invasions, if you want to max out your players XP, or your characters XP and your cameos XP, do this endurance. It is probably the best one to do. It's a decent level, you got that health debuff, and it's just genuinely overall really good. So when you first start, you want to wait until she moves, then start moving. Once you defeat them, don't press and hold any buttons. Wait until the next person comes on screen, otherwise they're going to charge you and hit you, and it's going to risk you getting your flawless victory, which gives you a bonus XP towards your profile, character, and your cameo. It's just, that right there is probably the most XP you're ever going to get out of any bit of this shit. And I kid you not from it. It's just genuinely really good. Now, if you're curious as to what all the characters look like as far as the stats go, I will go through and show you. Now, do keep in mind, I have some of the seasonal items and limited edition content, or limited time content on these characters, so that's why their outfits look different and have various things. But as you can see underneath stats, some are good, some are decent, and then I forget who it was. I think it was Rain I was dissing on because of the attack. But the thing is, his special is one of the highest ones. I will not deny that. That makes up for it. But Sindel, 23, 199, 31, 16, 31. That is the same as Reptile and Baraka. The rest of them are pretty decent. Smoke, he's probably the most OP bastard you could ever use in multiplayer as of this moment. I'll probably go through and nerf or debuff some of his attributes. but most of these characters, except for Johnny Cage, like these two, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they got the same stats as far as those things goes as well. I think Kung Lao has the same as those as well. But just like I said with Sindel, Reptile, and Baraka, they have 23, 199, 31, 16, 31. And that's pretty much it. I highly suggest going through, maxing them all out. Whatever ones have the lowest attacks, get them out of the way first. You won't have to worry about it once you complete them. I still have not maxed out a character at all. Scorpion, I think I have him to 20. Baraka's like 18. But I've only been using Frost. So, this bitch still is not maxed out by any means. I'll show you their masteries real quick. And I'm not sure why, but it does take a minute for mine to load for some unknown apparent reason. But I do apologize for me going out and about and explaining this. There was questions I had when I first started this, and I'm sure there's other people that have questions about it, and I just did not know. But as far as like the mastery, this is as far as I have with any of the characters, just because I've been strictly trying to grind particular characters that I know I would use, and just go through, get the finishers and the brutalities and the cosmetics. But hopefully by the time season 2 ends, I will have all of these maxed out. There's the fighters, the cameos. I've used a few of these in just casual towers to try them, and some are not that bad, some are pretty good actually. Frost, she's I'm gonna say mid. That could be, changed depending on how you look at her, but I personally think she's kind of mid. Sector, he's kind of beefy in this sense. Goro is pretty good. But there's 15 levels with cameos, there's 35 with fighters. I'm so close to being done with Frost, and I can't wait. Can't wait. But I have went through and I've been playing this shit. I don't know why the time played says only 3 hours. I guess that's for actual encounters. Like the invasion time played. I'm sure that's only for like time spent in matches. I'm sure that's not actual time spending in it traversing through the, I'm gonna call it Monopoly board, but yeah. Online, I'm not the best. I'm not the best online by any means, but they're pretty fun. And never know new notifications. But yeah, this is probably the best way to do it. I hope I answered any questions there were, if you were curious about any bit of it. If you do have questions, let me know. I will try my best to answer them. I know I'm not the most helpful person when it comes to any kind of content like this, but I will just try to best gather information as to what I can and just kind of be a middleman and relay the message, if that makes sense. But yeah. Oh, one more thing, another good thing, if you're curious, this squad up actually does give 300 seasonal credits for every time you complete it. It's 100 per opponent. So if you want to get those seasonal items, this will be a good way to get those too. I think that's really about it. That's all I have. But if you have questions, or if you have another better method, let me know. I'll try them and test them out personally, and try to go through and just get it going. But good luck to those about to put in the grind. If you have started the grind, good luck pushing through it, maxing out the characters and the cameos. Because I know everybody's wanting to get the trophies and achievements for maxing out 5 cameos. And that's honestly part of the reason everybody's even doing this. It sucks. But yeah, I hope you all found this helpful. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day or night or whenever it is you're playing this. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.